Welcome to StockInvest.us podcast. We remind you that trading involves a high risk of losing money, and that you should speak with a financial advisor before buying or selling any securities. You should not base your investment decision upon StockInvest.us. By using the information provided, you agree and are held liable for your own investment decisions.
Hi, and welcome to StockInvest.us podcast for week 35. This is the week where the small caps will do very well, where your high-risk stocks finally will pay a little bit back if you are in the red. It's also a week where you don't have to worry too much about fundamental news. Last week, Fed said they were not interested in raising the interest rates anytime soon. Good news, market had a very nice day on Friday. And overall, Nasdaq almost managed 3% last week, was up roughly 2.82%. My name is Jim. I'll guide you through the next, let's say, 25-30 minutes, where we'll talk about the market ahead of us, the week that we are entering into, what to look out for. We'll do some quick stock analysis, check the biggest stocks, Apple, Microsoft, to mention some. Last week I told you I believed that Microsoft will end the week at $298. It ended the week at $299.72. So spot on Microsoft and very close on Apple and Tesla. Even GameStop, which I said would go up. I've been bullish for GameStop for a few weeks now. Finally had a very nice week. After the short technical analysis, we will move on to the two stocks of the week, which I will personally buy this week. I will try to trade and I can just mention 2 weeks ago I told you I was buying Nvidia and Roku, and I have kept Nvidia since doing so good. It's running on stop loss now, so if it falls, the stop loss will cut. It's something called trailing stop loss, just following the stock upward so far. So far, almost 12% profit on Nvidia. Roku is also still in the buy. It's up 2.59% right now. Not so much from Roku, but still looks so good that I haven't sold or closed that position yet. Last week I bought Coin and Zynga. We will get back to them very shortly. But first, let's look about the week ahead of us. I told you last week I thought it would be a green week, that we will get Nasdaq above 15,000, that things will be very good, that BitCoin would start to tumble by the end of the week. That was my guess. And BitCoin been struggling a little bit lately. But first, let's look at the major things. And in this podcast, I used to tell you how many buy signals are across the world. At StockInvest.us, we analyze more than 30,000 stocks. And checking the amount of buy signals give you an idea about the market as such. Right now, as we speak, there are 28% buy signals across the world. This is up from the week before, but I told you I loved when the position was very low. As I said, when Nasdaq was 14,000, I think it will go to 15,000. Once it breaks 15,000, I think that the road is clear for 16,000. And that is exactly what is happening now. Nasdaq is above 15,000, ending the week at 15,129. It's above 15,000, and then things can just go very fast upwards towards 16, could even be 17. I have no idea. I think this is the final rally before we will have a huge fall. It will come. Will it be September? I'm not sure, but right now I think it will just rally off, and that will really fire up the small caps. So let's see if I'm correct. The portfolio, which I will tell a little bit about in the end of the portfolio, my high risk portfolio, well, it was 10%, 20% on every single stock last week, and I think that will just continue this week. The treasury yield, which we always follow, went up a little bit, but not much. It's 131, still very low. But if we jump back to the buy and sell signals, if we go to US and look at Nasdaq, we can say that it's 31% buy signals right now. It is quite much up from the week before, where it was only 18. 31 is not very high. Still room for a lot to go, but it indicates slowly, bit by bit, that we are getting to a higher number. I expect actually that Nasdaq, when it gets up around 50, maybe even 60% buy signals, we will get very close to what I believe will happen, that we will have a huge fall. But we are not there yet, still should push high. And especially the stocks that have been lagging should push very high over the next few weeks, in my opinion. New York Stock Exchange 40% buy signals is getting higher. It was 25% last week. Moving to Europe, we can say that London is also a little bit up, 34, Frankfurt 28, but still kind of moderate, still kind of okay. If we look at the charts, we look at the curves, the trends, we can say that everything is looking somewhat okay. There is plenty of support below. So reactions down will be met by support, probably just pushing things back up again. If we go to Asia, we can see that Tokyo have 27% buy signal, quite much up from the week before, where it was only 12% buy signals, and Shenzhen 17, only one going in the opposite direction. And while mentioning Shenzhen, I can just say that Chinese stocks on US will do good for the next few weeks. They've really been hammering lately. Should have plenty upside, BABA, whatever you want. There should be a lot to come. And Tencent Music, which I personally like a lot, I think it's totally undervalued, should be one of these stocks that will do good. Oil went up a little week, a little troubling week down in Afghanistan, etc. Oil trading at 68. I believe it's a little bit high. I think that they will push downwards towards 55. It's so hard to say, but good for my old portfolio, of course, which I'm currently trimming a little bit. I've been trading oil since oil was 20 and telling you in this podcast that oil is the place where you want to be. I think that oil should push downwards, in my opinion, because the production is increasing. There is still struggles with Delta variant of COVID, of course, and now we know there is a lagging of container ships around the world that will continue to push the prices up, and the prices is just going crazy, and they will just continue to go crazy. Eventually all these things will come crashing down on us, and I think that will combine with the fall in the markets. But let's not worry for this week, because this week I think will just be fine. And if you want to know what I mean about next week, well, then you just have to tune into this podcast, make it your favorite, and you will know what I think next week. Gold, which I think will go up to 2,000. I actually increase my target for gold. I think gold will go to 2,500. It's $1,820 right now. The reasons why I think gold will go as high are many, but one of them are, of course, this inflation that keeps rising. I will just continue to rise, and sooner or later money will go out of the markets and they will flood into more secure items, and I think gold will be one of them pushing high. So for the market as such, you can go to StockInvest.us, type in Exigam, for instance, for the Nasdaq Composite Index, and you can see for yourself everything looks very nice. It's within a nice tight trend. Everything indicates that it should push upwards. If it falls a little bit down, now it has support at 15,000, 14,800, so I don't see anything really scary this week. There is nothing indicating a fall this week. It could be that it will have a natural 1 or 2 days where it flirt a little bit, maybe just a little bit under 15,000, but by the end of the week I think that will be closer to 15,500. So I'm very optimistic. Could even go into overbought, that we get one of these crazy weeks that we have before Christmas. So that's my position for the markets. I think they will be green. I think that we are in a rally, and I think that rally will just get increase in speed. Will not be surprised if we go into these overbought markets where just things go totally crazy a few days in a row. For sure, very interesting period. But that brings us to the very first stock analysis. And why do we check the stocks? Why do we do these analysis? Well, they give you a certain idea. Like Apple is so big, it will give you a certain idea about the market as general. And if you look at the Apple stock, you can almost look at the market as well. The market's been moving a little bit sideways, struggling between 14 and 15,000 weeks, and weeks where it's trying to go up to 15,000, having problems. So you can see also at Apple moving slightly upwards, but almost sideways all the way since June. Between, let's say, $144 and $150 been moving within this rectangle formation. Now it's again pushing upwards. I like the volume formation. Everything is looking so good. Buy signals from the short-term moving average, long-term moving average. The trend is nice. Achieves a score of 4.58 from our algorithms at StockInvest.us, indicating that the stock should push upwards. Good support below at 145. If it breaks below 145, I think that you will see increased speed downwards. Could fall all the way to 135 if this happens. And no matter what I say, things can happen. You don't know. It's the last day of the pullout of Afghanistan. Many things can happen which you cannot foresee, causing huge corrections in the market. I don't think actually a terror event in Afghanistan will affect the market right now as is. But anything related to China, Iran, etc., that will be a different story. And we don't know how that will play out further. So keep an eye on the news. Is very good. Try to understand what is boiling. Is there anything boiling that can pop into the news very fast? Be prepared. Could be a new variation of that Delta virus or anything. But if you're a little bit prepared about what can be in the headlines, you also are able to make a better decision about which direction the market could, should, or would go in. Because why would you buy a stock if you expect the market to go down? If you expect something bad to happen, why would you then buy a stock? If your general opinion is that the market will struggle, because if the market will struggle, only a few stocks will go up. Most of them will go down. It's the opposite. If you believe that the market will go up and it's a positive market, well, most stocks go up. So it's a good thing to learn. It's a good thing to do. Pay attention to the news. Last week I said I had a target for Apple at $155. Didn't manage to go all the way up there, ending at $148.56. For this week, I think that Apple will just push upward. I think that it will break this slight, we can call it a slight rectangle formation between 145 and 150. I think it will break it now. I think it will pop straight up to 155. So I will keep the target, which I had last week, for $155. Microsoft, been spot on 2 weeks in a row. I said to you that I believe Microsoft will end the week at $298. I said 300, but then I adjusted to 298, ending the week at 299.72. This week, I said to you also that I believe Microsoft would do better than Apple, but Microsoft been doing very well lately, and trend is strong. Buy signals from a long-term moving average, but sell signals from the short-term moving average. Relative strength index is a little bit high. The volume is, well, I would say it's following the stock. Kind of good signal. It ranks less than Apple in our algorithms. Got a score of 2.72. Remember, Apple had over 4. Totally agree to this evaluation. I think it's a buy candidate as we see it, but with resistance around 305. Support at 290. I think these are the levels the stock will move within this week. Looking at the chart, I would say it will move upwards the first part of the week, then fall a little bit down by the end of the week. Most likely it will be, it's so hard to say, it could go all the way up to 310 high and as low as 200, let's say 295 low. Moving between these levels, maybe starting good, ending a little bit slower, should put it somewhere around it. Just a guess, let's call it an educated guess. I think that Microsoft will end the week somewhere around $305, so also a little bit up for Microsoft this week. And Tesla, I've been saying weeks after weeks, I want Tesla upwards to 720. I think that Tesla will just push upwards and it can be 900 in total. Started to say that you should buy Tesla when it was 560. Been a slow ride so far, but it's really getting a lot of percentages right now. So it's a super been a super trade. It's still a super trade. And if you look at the chart, like everything I see about it, relative strength index is low, it's moving upwards. Buy signal, short-term moving average, long-term moving average. The trend is slow, but good. There's nothing wrong with slow as long as it's good. Good support below. It can fall, of course, straight down to 690 if there is a red opening. Some resistance where it is now, but very little. As soon as it passes 720, it can go straight up to 800. Personally, I think it will be a very nice week for Tesla this week. I will increase my target for Tesla and say that by the end of the week, I expect actually Tesla to end somewhere around $780. So quite hefty move for Tesla. But I think Tesla will, as I said, push upwards. Could be as high as 900 before it also take a nice low. But we are trading on the upside. We just need the direction to be correct. Of course, we cannot be on the dollar every single time. GameStop, which I brought in a few months ago into this short analysis because it's such a popular stock. I said last week, I believe GameStop to get up to 180. I told you that it could go all the way to 210 given the right conditions. And I've been bullish for GameStop for week after week. And last week it fired up, ending at 204.95. So it was quite much above the weekly target. And if we look at the GameStop, we can see what the things that I told you, why it was so suited. I like what I see. I like the volume development. The problem is, of course, that it's a highly volatile stock. Has some support where it is right now, but it can fall instantly down to $170 in a blink. On the upside, it faces a lot of resistance, 210, 220. I told you about these levels before. These, I think, will be very hard to break. Right now, it's a little bit overbought. Everything is indicating that this week it should move a little bit horizontal. Could push upwards to 220, but could also go as low as 170. Personally, I don't think it will go as low as 170. I would say that anywhere around 190 to 120, 190, 180 could be good trading levels, and you could trade the stock between these levels, 180 to 20, let's say, in the expectation that it will not break 220. If it breaks about 220, it will go very fast, so you should just get in if it breaks about 220, because you can go straight to 260, 280 in a single blink going overbought. But right now, it's not the best technical picture I've seen. Of course, there's buy signals from the short-term moving average, long-term moving average, but in general, looks to me like it should go a little bit more sideways this week. But it is boiling for more upturn, that's for sure. Question is just about this week. And for this week, I will tend to be neutral, slightly neutral, even slightly negative, I would say. I will put a target by the end of the week for 195. Let's put 195 by the end of the week. And that brings us to the Bitcoin. And I know a lot of you are just waiting for this. So where do I think Bitcoin will go? Told you when it was 30,000, just buy it because it will go up. And I said last week that I think that it would struggle. But if you look a bit forward, it's just going to go upwards. I mentioned last week that I thought it could go as low as 44,000. I think it was. You have to listen to the last podcast to get me exact, but I think I mentioned it could go as low as 44. I'm not sure if it was traded intraday as low as 44. I think I saw it at 145, maybe during the week. I'm not sure. It was for sure down at 146, maybe not 145. So it did not manage to get down to the 144 level. Because I told you, the question was, should you buy a Bitcoin right now? And I said that it could be a buying opportunity during the week, where you can get a little lower. But for the long term, it did not really matter if you bought it at 49.50, because it was just going to push upwards. And last week, the target for Bitcoin was 48,000. Did a little bit better. Ended Friday, we measured these prices at Friday at 49,000. Of course, right now we can say that I'm correct because it's 48. But was a little bit better than I thought. 49,000, but as I said, it was just a natural correction. And I think last week we should be very happy about the movement because it's consolidating between 146, 150, making room for further gain. And right now, I was expecting a correction, maybe as low as 42,000 for Bitcoin. But with the good, nice development that was last week, this chance is getting less. So we stick to the original plan, which I also said that Bitcoin will just continue upwards. Buy signal, short-term moving average, long-term moving average. The volume is following the crypto somewhat okay, I would say. Fairly chance that it could fall down to 46, but everything indicate that these will just be nice levels to pick as Bitcoin will push upwards. After 50,000, it will go straight to 55, could even go 57 in one single jump. So above 50, expect things to move much faster, and right now I think that is exactly what will happen. It's moving upwards from 54 at the relative strength index, exactly what we like to see. And I think it's just tuned to go up. So happy that it moved as neutral last week as it did, only moving between 50 and 46,000, because now it's just settled to go a little faster forward up. And I'm in Bitcoin, so I got in at 30 and I think it should just push upwards as is. There is no big downturn signal technically for sure right now. If for any reason things should start to crumble, it will find support at 48, 46, 44, 42, 40, 38, 36, and Bitcoin being Bitcoin, of course, is volatile. Target for next week, I think actually by Friday, I think that we will see Bitcoin at 54,000. So that will be the target. I just keep increasing the target, and 54,000 will be the target for Bitcoin by the end of the week. I think that we will be happy. Dogecoin, which I also told you that I would go out of last week because I thought there would be a correction. I was just waiting for the right one. Well, I went out at 32 cents, but I have to admit that I bought in again at 27 last week. It fell a little bit back. I like everything I see. Volume is following the crypto very nicely. It will pick up if it could fall to 26 for sure, or it could pick straight up now. But I think if Bitcoin goes up, of course, Dogecoin will go up. And add a target of 40 cents. And I will just keep that target because I simply think that's where we'll see Dogecoin. Might be wrong about the target if it will manage during this week. If not this week, if not next week, then it should be anytime soon, in my opinion. And not always about being correct on the day. Direction is more important. And that 22 minutes into the podcast brings us to the stocks, which I recommended 2 stocks which I will buy this week. And just quickly summarize what I started with. 2 weeks ago I bought Nvidia. I told you I thought Nvidia was looking very good. Got into Nvidia. It's moving upwards. I bought at $202.30. It's currently at $226.36. I'm running a trailing stop loss. I've explained this many times in this portfolio. I will do it one more time if you're a new listener. If you are at a good broker, not a shady, but a decent broker, they will offer you something called trailing stop loss. Trailing stop loss just work this way. You either put a percentage or a dollar amount into which the stop loss will be triggered. As the stock move upwards, like I run in Nvidia, I run a 3% stop loss right now. As Nvidia goes upwards, the stop loss moves up, but will always be 3% below the highest price. So it can be cut today, or it can go upward, but it will never go downwards. This way, I am at least, as we speak, guaranteed 8% profit in Nvidia. I'm very happy. I love 8% every given day. Roku, which was bought the same week, I still like what I see. So I even kept that one. Is not doing very well. It's 3% so far. but I take 3% every given day. Last week I bought Coin and Synga. Coin I got at 258 on the Monday. Tried to time the bottom. It was a little cheaper at the lowest, but I was able to get in at 258. I sold it on Tuesday because it went up to 266, 267. Didn't manage to keep the traction. I didn't like the development of the volume, so I just went out to 264.50, giving me 2.32%. Synga, which I bought at 864 on Monday, is currently at 9. It's up 4.17% as is, and I like what I see in Synga. So I'm still in Synga, running stop loss as well. A little bit bigger stop loss since it's a more volatile stock. And we will just see how it goes, but I think that will pay very well off. And these are the two stocks that I will buy on opening today. One is one old stock which I've been trading a lot in since last March, I think it is Diffusion Pharmaceuticals. It's penny stock. I would almost call it shit stock. Traded at 55 cents right now. I think that given the push that we see in the market, I think these penny high risk stocks will pull up. So I'll do a gamble in Diffusion Pharmaceuticals. Hope I will get in around 55 or something. And we will see how that will do. The other one is also a gamble, and you can see by the risk I choose that I believe it will be a week for risk stocks, because the second stock I will try to get into is AMC. AMC currently trading around $40 and roughly $48, $40.84. Hope to see a good entrance level, and I will ride AMC. I like what I see technically. I think that it should push upwards. It should be a volatile ride. My opinion, I think that there should be at least around 15% possible grab if it goes into a slight little rally, which I think might happen. So these are the two stock, Diffusion Pharmaceuticals, AMC, are the stocks that I'll buy on opening today, and see if I'm able to trade some good greens. That brings us to the very end of this podcast, and it's the high risk portfolio that we've been following, and it's been a dead boring game as long as the market's been moving sideways. But last week's thing started to kick off, and all the stocks went up 10 to 20%. All of them, especially Arbutus, were doing good, ending at 333, and I just think that they will continue upwards. Ook again was up, Ur Energy was up. Only stock that didn't move was Velocity Energy, this pink stock, but I think that will move this week. It got totally illiquid. Isn't a single trade in the stock right as it is, but this is the name of the game for the pink stocks, which you should not buy unless you are able to stay or lose the money, because they can get totally illiquid, and from good trading to zero trading in no time. NEO was the one stock that didn't move that much, ending the week at 38.26. Petrogeo Service 4.43. Still like what I see, and I still believe in it. It's been in it for a long time. It's Norwegian semiconductor seismic company working for the oil industry, and I think that will just continue upwards. For the week ahead of us, I will not do any changes. I'm about to get out of the high risk portfolio, but I think I will just ride this wave, which I think is ahead of us, to cash in on them, because I think, as I said in the very beginning, and I will end the podcast with this, I think this will be a good week for small cap stocks. I think really it will be green, good trading opportunities. You will see stocks move. Last week we saw Zoom starting to move very, very fast, gaining 30-40%. It went from some 40ish up to 8ish cent in no time, ending some 65 by the end of the week or something. Very volatile, very good trading range, and I think that these things will just continue for these stocks. So that's the end of this podcast. As you might hear, you can hear the ambulances driving outside. I hope that is not a trader who had a trade going wrong. Nah, just joking. It's COVID situation. Delta is all around us. How it will affect, if it will affect the stock market, is hard to say. If you read the news, you will read that I think it was Moderna that was denied a batch in Japan or wherever it was. So it's still with us, and it will probably be more as we see cases increase. Could be trading opportunities in these COVID-related stocks. We will see. Anyway, I cannot recall a good last tip to end the trading podcast with. So I'll do as I always do. I will wish you a very good week. I really hope that you will be able to do some good deals. Put some green. Be a little bit sharper in your decision making. Don't be afraid to go out of a stock. It's the hardest part that you can do is sell. Just get used to it. Be a little hard. Use stop loss. Take the loss as a man or a woman, depends. And you will see that your trading profit in the end will increase. 1 week and I will be back. Until then, have a very good time. Bye.
That's the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment if you have any questions and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.